All right. Let me just paste this here. Okay. Yeah, so today I'm going to be working on a let me throw this up there. Great. On a peasant crowd kind of system. The basic idea is that um all right, perfect. The basic idea is that, and I'm making a game that has to be partially runnable in VR, so performance is really important. But even if it wasn't, this would be, I think, really fun to do. Maybe I'll use it in some other projects. The problem with huge crowds and a lot of games, as far as performance goes, is you have to, tell them all where to move. They all have colliders. They all have to respect terrain. They're all playing animations. They have to switch states. They have to interact. They have to do so many things. But I'm wondering if there might be a way to cheat past a lot of these things. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me actually scoot this down and extrude the head out of here. So my idea for this is basically, what if instead of having a whole bone structure for every peasant, maybe there's a way to fake an animation from really far away where the walk cycle is actually just a shape key that kind of tweens back and forth between two poses. And then you can just use one bone per character instead of like 40 to 100 bones, depending on how detailed. And with that, you can actually, you can use each of those bones as if maybe like 100 peasants was just one character. And so it would all be fake. Their movement patterns and stuff would all be predetermined and it'd just be a canned animation. But you could do two things. You can, we'll see if I get there. It'll probably take more than an hour to create a optimized replacement for a, what's it called? For crowd dynamics. But the idea is you can move the bones around in height, and that's not too performance intensive because there's no path tracking or calculation or anything like that. You're just moving them up or down. And then the other thing you can do is you could attach a collider. Maybe if there's a character nearby, for like if you have camera shots or something like that, then you don't even need colliders. They can just move because they're ready to go. You could customize them per area, probably fairly easily. I'm just trying to get the basic shape going here. I'm going to add edge loop in the middle. Oh, let me turn on screencast for you guys. All right, great. Yeah, okay, I'm going to make another edge loop here. Cool. So that just so I can extrude out the legs. I'm using a mirror modifier, which just means that if I get any points in this very middle, then they'll be stuck there until I toggle the modifier on and off, which isn't a big deal, but I like to stay in kind of this full screen mode for as long as I can. Not just because it's Zen, but well, I guess that is a big part of the reason. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But of course, this falls similar to a lot of things, modeling, texturing, rigging, and all that. Oh, and the other thing that's important is I'm going to be going extremely low poly. In fact, this might even be too much, but a lot of times it's easier to make the shape and then adjust it uh, instead of trying to figure out how you're gonna what detail you can get away with not having for something like extreme like this. Definitely, you want to stay as low poly as you can. I might need an extra point here just to define the jaw. That I might not be able to live without. I need another couple points here. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to be animating a very simple animation. I mean, the idea is that you would see this from really far away. So it's a similar concept to what you would see in something like a Madden or FIFA or whatever with what they do for the crowds. They wouldn't do it this way. They'd probably just use alpha cards, or at least they did the last time I was playing those games to a large extent. In some cases, the camera angle would get close enough where you could see that they were just billboards, like textures with alpha on a plane, and that's definitely you can get a lot. You can get a lot of them using that. But there are a lot of efficiencies to 3D meshes. There's a lot because they're so common and it's so expensive for games. There's a lot of work put into optimizing them. Let me bring this a little bit closer to the image so I can just line this up a little bit better. And it looks like I'm going to need one more point here just to define the neck a little bit better. And again, I want to keep this as low poly as possible. Let's extrude out the arm, and then I can decide how many points I need here. I mean, and I'm not even necessarily against, making these arms and legs separate segments so that I can detach them and move them through each other more easily. Do that. Okay, great. Obviously, this arm is a little funky. I am going to try to make the arm just a rectangular prism, so just 4 points around. And same thing with the hand. I think it's the other way. Yeah, it kind of rotates more out this way, not the other way. Yeah, great. But this has been an idea that's been floating in the back of my head for a while, which is just like, if you take a lot of the AI processing out of it and use some of the really great optimizations for meshes and bones that are in game engines, can you make really big crowds of people without sacrificing much performance? And I think that you probably can. Might need, maybe this is where I come in with thing. And then the nose is a small detail, so I kind of feel almost a little bit silly for doing this, but I think that it will make a big difference from like the readability, because the idea is maybe you see it from this far away or farther maybe. So it doesn't have to be, it can't be that accurate. I'm not giving it very many polygons. All right. And of course, I'm just kind of blocking out the mesh, but there's the close aspect. And then if I had a lot of time, I would probably make women and children too, which I think would also go a really long way. It's interesting. Part of the reason maybe this was on my mind is I got back into, let's see, what is about this that's totally off? Okay, something closer to that. I got back into Warcraft 3. I was looking forward to Reforged for a while, but then when it finally came out, I didn't really have that much time. But I have a little bit more time now that my kid is taking more regular naps. And of course, I don't have the commute at the moment. I think this is more points than I wanted to add, actually. I might need more points on the legs, but let's see if I can keep it to there for now. Might be able to get somewhere just by rotating this so it's not, the flat face isn't facing forward. Bring it in for the knees. And again for the shoes. And then let's get these boots out here. Oh, so this guy's looking pretty strange. I'm pretty sure I've got the proportions pretty off. The nose seems to be somewhat lined up, so that's funny. Chin is matching that, but that's just because he's not a great reference for lining up a head, but just go with that for now. Maybe I will add just a few vertices here. Especially since the top of the head is something that you will definitely be seeing a lot of if there's any overhead shots, which I'm planning on having a lot of. Maybe a bit more there as well. The head's too big still. Just gonna scale it in like that. Arms too long. Do the same thing that I did with the nose and just kind of extrude this out. For the thumb, it's probably small enough detail where I could skip it, but I'm gonna keep it in just because. Okay. I'm just doing a lot of spinning around looking for things that kind of seem off. Anatomy is not my skill point, or not my greatest strength for sure. But things will still stick out sometimes that I can be like, okay, that should probably be changed. Set it to shade smooth. Okay. That's part of it. Just have the legs going down to. I'm just going to grab everything, shift it down. Very important you get your reference image to actually be aligned with the ground, kind of close-ish. Obviously, the perspective is leaving his feet angled up some, but that's pretty close. So then I can match that a lot closer. Wait, I do need this point. Looks okay from the front, but a little strange from the side. Okay. And these probably go too far forward. Okay. So from far away, it looks like a person-ish. So we're gonna run with that for now. I'm just gonna do a really quick unwrap where I chop off the head as an island. I'll delete the interior faces of the thumb and the nose. I could see the ears also being a worthwhile addition. But let's just say they're all wearing those weird little hat things for now. So we'll keep it at that. Bring this out just a bit more portly. All right, and then let's call this Peasant Crowd. All right, yeah, I'll chop off the arm. Although the seams will actually probably be a little bit more noticeable because it'll be really far away. But I think I still need to chop the arm as far as an island goes. Yeah, that's okay because I can give him a shirt, thing that ends there, just like the reference. I'll just send this all the way down. I'll mark these two. And I'll mark this leg as well. I am not going to mirror it for now. Go ahead and unwrap. Not bad. And then I'm just going to give it a texture. I'm going to make it super tiny, actually. And then I'm jumping to paint mode. And I'm just going to source. Oops. I'm not in paint mode anymore. Oh, it's just really small. Okay. I'm just going to drop some colors on there. I'm going to pretty much just match the reference for now. There's plenty of time for me to chart my own course on that. I'm going to hit Shift-Alt-1 as my own hotkey to make things shadeless, so I can focus a bit easier on what I'm trying to do. Realize he doesn't have the hanging cloth stuff going, so I'm just going to go with this for now. Keeping the mirror helps me do a lot of things really quickly, like painting and rigging is what I was thinking really is what made me not apply the mirror at this stage, even though in order to do what I'm thinking with the shape keys, I really probably will have to apply the mirror. Just give it color. Also can't really give him a saddlebag on one side. I can give him a little belt thing though. Maybe I'll do some highlights. Some eyebrows. Oops. And it might work out better for me to not really fully block in the eyes. looking very questionable at the moment, but I think it's gonna work out. I'm gonna start dropping my opacity so I can fudge it a little bit more and try to get an idea of what's going on. Good, and bring in this cap. It doesn't have to be crazy, because again, the plan is that people aren't seeing this close up, or else it'll be pretty obvious the tricks I'm trying to pull, even besides it not looking so great at this point. I'm just feeling a little bit motivated by the way that the textures are looking to adjust some things real quick. There's also some dirt on his sleeves. A lot of shadows. Obviously being very messy and sloppy at the moment. And at this point, I shouldn't be so confident that what I'm doing will work. So maybe it's worth even, not getting too focused on how it's looking and instead trying to push through to the next phase pretty quickly. Yeah, let's bring in these blue pants. Dark blue. Maybe I will try to get this skirt thing in because it just looks so strange right now. Let's just grab these edges, go all the way around. Should I split it? Should I extrude or duplicate? Let's duplicate it for now. Scale it in, and then we'll extrude it out and down like this. Let's see. Actually, starting at where the belt is probably a way more natural way to go. And actually, let's see. Oh, yeah, I've got auto merge vertice turned on. I'm going to turn that off. That's just this thing down here. It just means if you have two vertices over top of each other, they will automatically merge into one, which can be really handy, but also really get in your way sometimes. Okay. Just make it go a little bit higher up in the back because it's hanging off his butt some. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this and give it its own texture space where it won't be bothered. There's plenty of space to go because I didn't really spend any time making this efficient. All right, great. And then that can change up our strategy a bit for how this works. It does look like it's going over the belt still, though, so. I'll spend more time on the folds when it doesn't have to be symmetrical. Just trying to outline the shapes for now. Because the shirt is showing through the side here. Okay, let's try wrapping this up and just push it through to the next level. I can always come back, and I'm going to have to, maybe even sooner rather than later, just to, just to get some of the fancy animation stuff that I'm aiming for working. Okay. So normally this is where you would do some rigging. But we are not going to do that, actually. I'm going to move his head back just a little bit. It's bothering me. Same thing with his neck. All right. So from far away, it kind of looks like there's a character there that may have convincing detail. Actually, I'm gonna just give him a bit more forehead. All right, let's go ahead and save that. Very good. Oh wow, what is that mess? That's fine. Let's go ahead, because I'm so unsure of how this is going to go. Actually, I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to attempt to apply the mirror. And then, should I use a rig to help me pose the different? So what I'm thinking is that I would have a shape key. Let's try that. Make the basis shape key, and then I would maybe make, oops, shape key back and forth for walking. Oh, this is gonna be so weird. animating and using the base mesh is not something you typically do. So I'm gonna have to be a little bit creative to make sure that I'm not kind of breaking it beyond recognition. I mean, of course, I have total control over this, so that's good. But well, we'll see. Using the cursor for rotations is going to help me not get it too out of whack, I think. Full screen this. I am on the second shape key, right? Okay, good. I keep thinking like, oh, what if it doesn't work? Like, well, I've only invested like 30, 40 minutes, so who cares? I just want to see if this will work. It'll be okay. Okay, and I'll attempt to do the same thing in reverse on the other side. Now, of course, these vertices are going to move on their own, so we'll see. Let's see what happens when we tween this. Okay. Well, just from still to one pose is going okay. Okay. It's so upsetting because this is not the way that animation should be done. And the only reason I'm doing this is to maybe do some hacks to get the performance to do well. But oops. The stream should be called the opposite of what they teach you in school or something. Okay, so now, I mean, ideally, I should set the basis as the opposite pose. And then I would only have to move one shape key back and forth. But let's just add another shape key for now. Okay. So now I want to do the opposite. I don't even know. There's no flip pose here, so I need this foot to be forward and this foot to be backwards. Okay. Something like that. And this one to there. And then the corner should come in like that. And this should be touching the middle as well. Okay. Then this, I need to pop forward. Okay. That's okay. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. I'm just testing a concept. I could theoretically be making all these shape keys with a rig. Then I believe Blender has a thing where you can apply the pose as a shape key to the vertices. And then I guess my plan would be to delete the bones at the end of it and just use the shape keys. Okay. That's pretty close. Now I just got to get this other one to there. Okay. Let's make some abomination of a shape key animation using this. And I believe, although it irritated me for a long time, Blender can bake in the shape key animations. Yeah, BBB. Yeah, welcome to everyone. This is Blender Brunch Bros. If I didn't announce at the beginning. But let's make an abomination of a oops, not an action editor, shape key editor. Okay. Shape walk. Let's just keyframe that, keyframe that. Actually, I would like to start on frame 0. Guess shape keys really don't like that. Oh well. Too bad. Do that and set that to 1. Okay. A little bit slower. Does this bump out at the end? Oh, I guess I just need to triangulate it is what's going on there, because it's when you have quads, it's secretly calculating what it thinks the triangle should be. And then let's loop it back. And then I'm going to set the end frame 1 frame before that, so that when it would get to this frame, it's actually jumping to the first frame. That's too fast for me. Remember, this isn't like a player character. It's just a NPC, so it looks a bit stiff for sure, which makes sense because this is shape key animation. But as far as I understand it, God, this is efficient. He is 384 triangles. Honestly, he could probably be a lot less. Some of these vertices I can definitely get rid of. Let me. How much time do I have? Okay, a little bit of time. So then at this point, let's. Yeah, let's go all the way. Let's just duplicate this guy a ton. And then we're gonna add an armature. I'm sorry. It's only funny to me because I've spent so many years not doing this. Crab bones. Okay. This is actually going to be our root bone. Yeah. And I'll just scale up the people bones. Keep offset. Name this root. And name this P1. And then duplicate it a bunch of times. And I'm just going to make, oops. Let's actually just do the nub for now. The snapping is probably not that important, but I'd like one part of this to be clean, not soiled by by what I'm doing. Oops. Okay, and then I'll scale all of these, and then snap that. Okay, probably an easier way of doing that, but and it did the 0.001 thing, but that's fine. I'm gonna push it through, making a crowd of people in under an hour. Okay, so they're all walking, and we can offset their animations in a second, but let's make our bone animation. Oh wait, I just gotta assign them. No problem, because we're just assigning the whole thing all at once. P1, P1.01, P1.02, P1.03, P1.04, P1.05, P1.06. Okay. Sometimes I like to do a thing since Blender will let you animate and play the animation and also, oops. Do I not have control tab for pose mode? Oh, okay. You know, actually, I would way rather these bones, oops, be pointed forward. It would just feel a little bit better and shorter. Great. So now I can get these townspeople that all look exactly the same, that are all walking in sync in different directions. I'm thinking that probably what's important for these extremely optimized crowd is to do a like recycling logo thing where they kind of loop around and then kind of approach from where the other ones were. All right. Before, I don't know if they're all on. Oh, they all duplicated once. All right. If we go into Dope Sheet, yeah, we should be able to see all of them at the same time. So really what I want to do is I want to duplicate this over and over and over again. There might be a better way to do this, but this will get the job done. Yeah, let's make it like that long of an animation, sure. Cool. So now they're just walking for a long time, and then we can actually offset them some. So I hate seeing the summaries and the what did I do? I must have the selection, which I do actually like, but let's just take this one. Actually, let's make the end frame here so we have more to deal with. Do that one off, that one off. That one could be more off. And I could even make them be going at different speeds. But great. So now, I mean, it's because it's just two keyframes. It looks like such a similar animation. But we can go ahead and do one of these. Actually, if we do local, we can just grab all of them at the same time. Just go to the end frame. And just do grab. Oops. Do one of these. And then I could just resolve. My animating will just be resolving that. I don't know why. It's so funny because it could take weeks of time to make characters, give them rigs, make them walk, put them in the engine, get them moving around using scripting, and then you haven't even started with getting them to avoid each other. Let me just do this. I'm sure there'll be a whole technique on how to animate using this method. Okay, that's first crisis of all. That doesn't look quite right. Oh, let's make this linear because the start up and slow down is kind of drawing right now. I could probably even may have this guy stop actually. That'll be cool. And let's just duplicate that keyframe and then slide it all back. Oops. Let's do that instead. Okay, well there you have it. Flawless crowds. And to really drive the point home, let's duplicate it a couple times. All right, let me save it before I make this horrifying file any worse. Let's do some of these. There you go. Of course, some of them are running into each other. I think the idea, probably a really good test of this, would be to painstakingly do like 50 or maybe 100 in one set. Now, you might say this isn't scalable because you can only use it if it's flat and there's no scenery objects in the way. But you can't really complain about time lost because of how fast this is. So really what you should do is you should just create a totally different animation. It's just one animation. Make a different animation for every scenario that you want to use it in. Now, it does defeat some of the freedom of just being able to slide it around anywhere in your scene. So there's that downside, but there might be some scripting stuff you could do. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you could, raycasts reduce the cheapness a little bit, but you could, you may not even have to do raycasts. You can just save whatever the elevation, like the height is, and have the bone just be adjusted up or down based on the elevation. Now, of course, the trick is you want this to loop, so you either need to come up with a way to, which is not unrealistic, to have them kind of disappear into a building somewhere, and then you can pop them back wherever they need to be. Or you could, if you're really good, you can have either the same one, probably that's the cleanest way to go. The same one finds his way back to where he started, or a different one that perfectly gets back to that place. And you can even at this level, you can take these guys and I came up with a hotkey for it, but what is randomize? Oops. There's a maybe it's on my other computer, but there's a randomized transform that you can do. Oops, that's not what I want. Maybe I do it in object mode. Okay, there it is. Shift Alt R. Okay, cool. Okay, maybe not that much. Let's just do 1.2 across the board. Actually, I can just select all of them and do the same thing all over again. Shift Alt R. This is just a custom hotkey. And I will do a scale even this time. Make the zoom a little more. Yeah, and adding more like pauses and stuff when they run into each other is a good way to manage that, I think. All right. Well, here you go. How to make crowd dynamics start to finish from scratch in under an hour. Have a good day.